Does anyone else miss the 2020 lockdown? I'm heading to a Halloween party as we speak and dreading every minute of it. Perhaps it's because I'm in my mid-30s, but it seems like since the pandemic, everyone hosts parties exclusively for peer pressure social obligation. You come to my event, I'll go to your future fete. My husband says something is wrong with me, but I can't be the only one who misses being confined to my house with no expectation to see anyone. I miss the lack of traffic, NGL. Why don't you go to the party? Peloton does. I'm an introvert, so, yes, I do miss the alone time. I am a very bad party guest. Locked myself in the bathroom. Fell asleep. You get the idea. Now I just go for a few minutes, then claim another commitment and leave. Works for me. There is nothing wrong with not being a social butterfly, and your husband needs to recognize that. We are not all the same. I do miss how quiet and empty everything outside was. Indeed. Although in March-April 2020, I spent 38 days in the hospital, 16 of those in ICU on a ventilator. Had my heart restarted while I was wide awake. Had to relearn how to walk and talk. And had months of oxygen tank and medications, heart stabilizers and blood thinners to prevent clots in my legs from working upwards and killing me. June 2020 to June 2021. I got back into walking. Was averaging 7 to 10 miles every day for 512 days straight without missing a single day. Surviving situations like that makes me realize how much of normal everyday life is just fake BS. This has nothing to do with the pandemic. That was just an excuse. You don't like parties or being around other people that much. Nothing wrong with being a homebody. It's fine if you don't want to go, but you're the reason. I'm heading to a Halloween party as we speak and dreading every minute of it. Then why are you going? Introverted people had a much easier time with the lockdown. It also created a wave of changes in lots of people afterwards, causing them to no longer want to deal with social settings the way they once had. Just don't go? You're an adult. Just don't go. Needing the excuse of nationwide business killing, mental illness exacerbating, economy crippling lockdowns to avoid saying no to a party is beyond silly. Just say nah. I really don't want to go. I've never once attended a party in order to peer pressure my friends into attending my party. I like hanging out with my friends. Isn't it better that you have the freedom to choose where you want to go? I was never in lockdown. I worked, as all blue-collar people did. My goodness, absolutely not. The worst time of my life. You depressed, fam? If you're dreading it, don't go. But fuck no, I don't miss the lockdown and risking my life every day to put food on the table. Not all of us got to sit around and do nothing. I miss absolutely nothing about it. I hated the lack of interaction along with the chaos of not knowing what would happen between sickness and businesses closing. God, I do. It was the safest I've ever felt in my life. Face holding back tears, face holding back tears, face holding back tears. Oh fuck, we started work from home since like March 2020. And the boss thought it was such a hardship, so he gave me increase for like 2 or 3 times. But in fact, without fixed check-in and out time, I just sleep to the noon every day. I worked as an administrative as that time. So while working from home I have basically almost no job duty. That whole fucking year I was just sleeping and eating and receiving extra salary. And because everything on the street is closed, I don't have any place to spend money. So I made a lot of savings. Fun fact, you can stay at your home and not interact with humans if you want. Hyatt lockdown RN due to war. I can assure you that it's the worst thing in the world. Grow TF up and learn to say no. You're in your mid-30s for crying out loud. Life is too short to be in places you don't like with people you don't enjoy. No, I don't miss people dying, social alienation, and economic precarity. Just be an adult and don't go to parties you're not interested in. Holy shit, just mention of lockdown gives me small PTSD attack. Didn't do a lockdown. Worked through it, on a skeleton crew since so many people quit. 1000 I know it was the worst time in our lifetime for a lot of people, but as a massively anxious introvert it was heaven. I was doing exactly right and exactly what I wanted at the same time. I miss it every day and don't feel good have a good outlook much anymore. I might have missed it if I had to go back to the absolutely miserable college I was attending at the time, but since I graduated I have no desire to go back to that level of isolation. I mean, I had to work a crappy stressful job for low pay while others got to furlough, making more money than I did through unemployment. I did the work of 5 people for $15 an hour. I sat in an empty office meant for hundreds of people because I couldn't take my work home. I got so stir crazy and so scared that I would drive my car around and scream at the top of my lungs because I was losing my mind. And I say this as an introvert. Lockdown did not exist for a lot of us. No, I do not miss it. Somewhat. I sometimes feel a little guilty over how much I enjoyed the lockdowns and the subsequent social distancing measures. No, I enjoy not watching small businesses and people's livelihoods being shuttered. If you don't want to go to a party, just don't go. If you long for those days again just because you don't want to fulfill social obligations, then you are quite privileged to not have been one of the many who suffered hardship during that time. 2020 was unironically the happiest I've ever been in my life. There was a month or two there where everyone genuinely cared about each other and I had hope for. One of the only times in my adult life. And then that went to shit and will never come back. Yep. I miss the lockdowns. I hate people and being social and generally being around people. Much happier in my own company with my dog. During lockdown, my former best friend drank herself to death on her couch. Nobody found her for 5 days, so her arms and legs had gone black. She was a victim of the loneliness of the lockdown. I miss it. I miss the quiet. I miss keeping space from people in stores. Whenever I'm outside, I miss it. Too many people with zero awareness of the world around them. No one knows how to walk or drive. I was working out every day, could pay all my bills, and there was no traffic. These events are actually important to stay social. We're all busy, so when someone plans something months in advance where others also plan to attend, it's really one of the only ways to remain close to those you hopefully like. One issue you may have is a social anxiety where you feel like you have to perform. If they're your friends, I promise you no one cares if you sit in a corner and don't chat much, because your presence is wholeheartedly appreciated. If someone our age gives you crap for not being the life of a party or engaging very much, that's a reflection on them, not you. Weirdest take I've seen in a long time. Throwing parties BC of peer pressure and obligation? So what about before the pandemic? All I experienced were the annoying masks and plexiglass since I was essential. I certainly don't miss that. Soylent Green. Nobody's stopping you from staying home. But forcing everyone to stay home was bad the first time around, and it's bad today. Everyone hosts parties exclusively for peer pressure, social obligation. Aside from small gatherings with close friends. Always been this way. Something is wrong with you. No. The lockdown was an imbecile move done by the retards in the government. If you don't like crowds, then don't go to that party. Simple as that.